Okay friends, in this video I'm going to talk about the schemas. Schemas came into the SQL Server around 2005 and they do exist right now in the SQL Server 2008. Now the basic purpose of the schema was that instead of having a different object owner, the object is contained within a schema and a schema is then owned by a user. Otherwise, what used to happen previously, that every different user would create a object and that object would belong to that user. Now what would happen was that if the user moved out of the company, okay, it was very difficult to change the user and actually move the tables to the other username, and it created a lot of problems. So by the creation of the schema, they removed this problem once forever, and now every time any user can create an table or an object in the SQL Server. However, that user would be creating under the schema. If you do not specify the schema, the name of the schema, then it would be created under a DBO, that is a default schema, but still the objects would be created under the schema. Now schema is a logical thing, it's not a physical thing, remember that thing. Now remember one more thing, one or more user can own a schema or use it as their default schema for creating objects. What does it mean? That you can create a schema and one or more user can use that schema. Okay, when I will actually show you to create a schema, it will make these things clearer. Okay. And one more thing, one or more user can own a schema or use it as their default schema for creating objects. Whenever you create a user, you can always assign a default schema for that user. So many users can be assigned to a default schema, and whenever these users would be creating any objects, it would be created in a default schema. Now let me show you how to create a schema. Okay, let's go to the. Now remember that the schema is created under a database. Okay, it is not created under the server, or as you may think, it is created under a database. Okay, now when you create a schema under a database, that schema, whenever you create the object in the database, you can create it under that schema, under that database. Okay, the hierarchical label is the server, a database, and the schema. Let's go and actually, I have created a test database. I already have it. Okay, do not actually try to experiment on the production database or some database that is important to you. Okay, now let me actually show it to you how to create a schema. Under security, if you go under the database, under the security, you go to the schema and select new schema. When you select a new schema, a screen that allows you to create a schema is shown to you. Okay, here is the schema. Okay, I can put any name if I want. In this way, I'll say it's demo. Okay, there has to be a schema owner. Okay, so let's say I want to put it as a DB owner. When I search it, it will give me all the objects. Okay, here it is. I can put this thing, okay, as a DB owner. Okay, and I'm going to click it OK. And this is the of my schema owner. Okay, now the permissions. Now schema, as I told you, it's a logical group, logical thing that will be actually in which you can put the physical thing, that's the objects and tables. Okay, and the basic reason I already explained to you. Now if I want to search and put the users into this schema who will be having the access to the schema, okay, so how do I do it? Okay, first let me show you how to search the users or roles. Okay, here is the one of the user. There is a guest, there is a public, and there is a public role, and I will actually take Mary as the this thing. I am going to click OK, and I am going to click OK. Okay, so I have one of the user. Actually, I have selected, and this user schema is now the demo. Now I can give this user the schema, this schema the permission, not this user. Any user or group I add to this schema will automatically inherit these permissions from the schema. That is the schema name, which is says demo. Okay, now suppose if I wanted to give this person the alter, means it can that this person can this schema, in this schema whatever the objects, it can be altered by these users. Insert, okay, general, okay, delete, insert, update, select, update, view definition. So far so good. Now if I wanted this peoples to actually grant to the other people the same permission, then I could have said with the grant, means these people can be actually grant the same permission, can become the grantor to the other peoples. Okay, which I am not going to do it in this case. Okay, and deny would actually deny the permission. Okay, it's a little bit different. A revoke would actually remove the both the permissions, because there is no actually revoke here. You remove the double click it and it's known as revoke. Okay, because there is no need for the revoke here. Okay, okay, I'm now that I've selected this thing, I'm going to select OK. As you can see, I have a demo schema. Now so far so good. Now what was my purpose of the schema is that I have created a schema, and now I want to create my objects under this schema. Now how do I do it? What you do is, let's collapse the schema and let's go to the tables. Okay, expand that is tables, right click, say new table. Now we are going to create a table, and we have to create a table in the schema demo. By default the schema name would be DBO, that is a database owner. Okay, here it is. Now the first thing is, before you creating a table, that's not important right now, you change the schema name here. Okay, by default is a DBO, I can change it to a demo. Okay, there we go, and I can rename the table from here also itself. Maybe I will say test table, okay, and I'm going to just put one field or two field and ID. Okay, that's it. It's just a demo table, and I'm going to create it and I'm going to save it here. Okay, nothing more, nothing less. Don't get actually carried away with these things, not important right now. Now just the idea is to create a table. I have saved the table. Okay, let's close it. If it is not saved, it will ask me whether do you want to save. It did not ask me if the table has been saved. Okay, and the table exists here in the demo. Demo is the schema and the test table is the now remember that the user Mary, okay, whenever she tries to create a table, it will be always under this schema. Okay, now that's it. In the next video, I am going to show you how to create the schema using a SQL code rather than a graphical user interface. Okay, I will just end it here. If you want to drop the schema, it is very simple. You can drop the schema from the schemas, but you cannot drop because there is a table here right now in the schema, so I cannot drop the schema from the until and unless I move the objects from one schema to other schemas. Okay, so that cannot be done. Okay, in the next video with the T-SQL, I am going to show you how to do it with the SQL, how to move the objects from one schema to the other and then remove the schema. Okay, and thus I will just end it over here and continue with the T-SQL or SQL commands creating schema in the next video. Thank you for watching.